A tracker like him must pass on his genes. The alien Huntress was beyond impressed. Kale Draven moved silently through the thick undergrowth of Zyphora Prime, his eyes scanning every shadow, every rustle, every movement. The planet was alive with danger. Massive trees with glowing leaves cast shifting patterns on the ground. Strange insects the size of birds flitted between branches, and unseen predators left faint trails in the mud. Kale's senses were sharp, his instincts honed over years of tracking the galaxy's deadliest creatures. He paused, crouching low beside a thick vine. His hand traced the ground, feeling the subtle disturbances the predator had left. This creature was clever, far smarter than the usual wildlife. It hunted in patterns, predicting where its prey might go. That kind of intelligence made it dangerous, and Kale knew he had to be smarter. A soft sound reached his ears, a barely audible snap of a branch. Kale froze, muscles coiled like springs. From the shadows, a tall figure emerged, moving with grace and power unlike any human he had ever seen. She wore dark armor that shimmered in the bioluminescent light. Her eyes were sharp, piercing, and calculating. Kale had heard stories of alien huntresses, beings so skilled that even seasoned soldiers avoided crossing their path. This had to be one of them. Lyra Thalix observed him from a distance. Her steps made no sound on the soft soil, yet she noted every movement Kale made. There was something in him that intrigued her, something rare in the galaxy. Humans were known for courage, sometimes recklessness, and occasional ingenuity. But this human, he was careful, precise, and patient. His movements suggested experience far beyond his years. He was tracking not just with skill, but with instinct. Kale did not immediately see her. He followed the trail, noting broken branches and paw prints. The predator had passed this way recently. He paused to check the terrain. The tracks led toward a dense thicket, and he adjusted his path carefully. He knew the creature would expect him to follow a direct route. Humans had a reputation for predictability, but Kale relied on his instincts. He would not be predictable. Lyra stepped closer, her interest deepening. She had hunted creatures across hundreds of planets, each more dangerous than the last. But this human, this small, seemingly fragile human, moved through the alien terrain with a command she rarely saw. She stayed silent, almost enjoying the spectacle. Watching him, she realized that perhaps the rumors of human skill were not exaggerated. Perhaps humans could be more than they seemed. The predator's scent grew stronger. Kale followed it cautiously, noting the subtle changes in the air, the broken leaves, the flattened grass. The creature was clever, but even clever creatures left a pattern, and Kale could read it. He paused as a faint growl echoed from the dense thicket ahead. The sound was low, guttural, and threatening. He crouched low, readying his weapons. Suddenly, the predator burst from the undergrowth, a massive, scaled beast with eyes that glowed like coals. Its claws dug into the soil as it charged. Kale reacted instantly, sidestepping with precision, using the momentum of the creature's charge against it. He fired a pulse shot that grazed its side, slowing it but not stopping it. The predator was fast, smart, and relentless. Kale felt a thrill he had rarely experienced, the pure challenge of facing a creature that could outthink him in some ways. From above, Lyra dropped silently onto a nearby branch. She did not attack immediately. She observed Kale, noting his tactics, the way he read the predator's movements. When the creature lunged again, she intervened, striking with a precision that only someone of her skill could achieve. Together, human and alien worked instinctively, an unspoken partnership forming in the heat of battle. Kale realized the creature was cornering them near a narrow ravine. He calculated quickly, then shouted to Lyra, "Push it toward the cliff." "It can't turn quickly there?" Lyra nodded, trusting his judgment. With coordinated movements, they drove the predator forward. It lunged desperately, but Kale's quick thinking and Lyra's strength forced it over the edge. A scream echoed as the predator fell into the shadows below. Its danger ended for now. Lyra's eyes met Kale's. She stepped closer, her expression unreadable. "You have skill," she said softly, almost reverently. "More than I expected from a human." Kale shrugged, a small smile on his face. "I survive," he said simply. "That's what humans do." She studied him, noting his confidence, his calm under pressure, and the instinctive decisions that had saved them both. "Survival is one thing," she replied, "but you have something else. Instinct, courage, adaptability, a kind of genius even my species rarely sees." Kale felt a mixture of pride and curiosity. He had faced alien hunters before, but none like her. There was no malice in her observation, only respect. He realized that despite being from different species, they understood each other in the language of skill, danger, and survival. The jungle was quiet now, the bioluminescent leaves casting gentle light over their path. Kale wiped sweat from his brow and scanned the horizon. He could feel another predator nearby, one even more intelligent, more cunning than the first. The thrill of the hunt was far from over. Lyra tilted her head, a small smile forming. "There is another," she said. "I can feel it, stronger than the one we faced. Are you ready for it?" Kale's eyes gleamed. He always was. "I wouldn't be here if I wasn't," he replied. For hours they moved through the thick undergrowth, tracking signs, listening for sounds, reading the terrain. Every step brought new challenges. Vines that could snap like whips, hidden pits, and creatures that tested their reflexes. Kale demonstrated a combination of patience and improvisation, using every part of the environment to his advantage. Lyra followed, studying him, learning and adapting. At one point they reached a small stream. Kale knelt, dipping his fingers into the water, sensing subtle vibrations. "It passed through here recently," he whispered. Lyra watched him carefully. The way he interpreted the world, not just seeing it but feeling it, left her deeply impressed. She had never encountered a human who could track so intuitively. As night fell, the jungle transformed. Bioluminescent plants lit their path, and strange noises echoed from unseen depths. Kale set up a small camp, using clever traps to protect against smaller predators. Lyra assisted, moving silently, placing traps with skill and efficiency. They shared no words at first, only gestures, a silent understanding forming between them. Later, as they rested, Lyra spoke again. "Your species, humans, you are underestimated across the galaxy. Yet here you are, outsmarting creatures that my people have hunted for decades." Kale looked at her, shrugging modestly. "We adapt, we survive, that's all." Lyra smiled faintly, though there was seriousness in her eyes. "No, you do more than survive, you master. You shape the environment to your will. You have the spark of something extraordinary." Kale felt a strange warmth at her words. He had never sought admiration, yet here it was, offered freely by one of the galaxy's greatest hunters. The night was deep, and the jungle hummed with life. Kale and Lyra sat in silence for a moment, each lost in thought. They were allies now, bound by necessity and respect, but Kale sensed that something more profound was forming, a recognition of the human potential that few species ever acknowledged. A distant roar broke the quiet. Kale's eyes narrowed, instinct taking over. "That's it," he said. "The real challenge is coming." Lyra rose, her posture tense, ready. "Then we face it together," she said. Kale smiled faintly. "I wouldn't have it any other way." They moved forward, deeper into the jungle, the night alive with danger and promise. For Kale, every step was a test of skill, instinct, and courage. For Lyra, every step revealed the extraordinary potential of a human she had underestimated. And somewhere in the darkness, a new predator stirred, waiting for the challenge, waiting for the hunt to continue. Kale Draven was ready. Lyra Thalix was intrigued. And the jungle of Xiphora Prime whispered that the true hunt was just beginning. The jungle of Xiphora Prime seemed to breathe around them. Every leaf, every shadow, every faint movement hinted at life, predatory, clever, and lethal. Kale Draven moved cautiously, his senses stretched to their limit. The distant roar from before still echoed in the air, vibrating through the soil beneath his boots. He knew the next encounter would be unlike anything he had faced. Lyra Thalix walked beside him, silent but alert. Her eyes scanned the dark canopy above and the tangled roots below, searching for signs that only someone with her experience could detect. Despite her reputation as one of the galaxy's greatest huntresses, even she felt the weight of anticipation. Kale was remarkable, no doubt, but the creature that awaited them now was rumored to be nearly impossible to track, let alone confront. Kale crouched beside a fallen tree, studying scratch marks along the bark. "It passed through here," he said softly, tracing the grooves with his fingers. "And it left its scent, but cleverly masked. Whoever this predator is, it's smart. It doesn't just hunt, it plans." Lyra nodded. "I can feel it too. It's waiting, calculating. Most creatures flee when they sense hunters like us. This one, it wants the challenge." A rustle nearby made Kale spin, his pulse quickening. Small creatures scuttled through the undergrowth, harmless compared to what was coming. Yet he knew the jungle had a rhythm, a way of giving away hints if one paid attention. Every sound, every shift in the air told a story, and Kale could read it. Hours passed as they moved cautiously, following subtle signs. Broken branches, disturbed soil, faint glows from the predator's bioluminescent markings. They were getting closer. With every step, Kale felt a thrill unlike any before, part fear, part excitement, all sharpened into focus. Finally, they reached a massive clearing. Strange ruins jutted out of the jungle floor, half buried and overgrown. The stones were etched with unfamiliar symbols, faintly glowing as if alive. Kale felt the energy in the place, something ancient and intelligent. He knew instinctively that this was no ordinary hunting ground. The predator had chosen this place for a reason. Lyra crouched beside him, eyes narrowing. The ruins, it's using them. Clever. They provide cover, traps, and vantage points. It knows this ground. Kale studied the patterns of the ruins, noting narrow paths, elevated platforms, and natural choke points. He whispered, "We need to move carefully. One wrong step and it could ambush us from above." The predator struck before they could prepare. From a shadowed archway it leaped, claws extended, moving with terrifying speed and precision. Kale barely rolled aside, dodging the strike, and fired a pulse shot that grazed its flank. The creature hissed, agile and intelligent, circling them. Lyra moved with him, striking from angles that were unpredictable to the predator. Together they were a perfect combination. Kale with human intuition and improvisation, Lyra with alien skill and experience. But even with their combined talent, the predator was relentless, reading their moves, predicting their attacks. Kale noticed something. Its eyes glowed differently, a flicker of intelligence that was almost human in its calculation. He realized the creature wasn't just hunting, it was studying them. It was learning from every action, adapting instantly. "It's smart," Kale muttered. "Too smart?" Lyra's expression was tense yet curious. "It's not just strength that matters," she said. "It's patience, observation, anticipation. You understand that, human?" Kale nodded, feeling the weight of her words. He had faced dangerous predators before, but none with such intelligence. They needed strategy, not brute force. He scanned the ruins, his mind racing. A narrow pathway led above them, a precarious ledge that could serve as an advantage if they could lure the predator toward it. "Follow my lead," he whispered. "We need to guide it toward the ledge." Lyra trusted him, moving in sync with his plan. Kale stepped into view briefly, making a calculated noise to draw the predator's attention. It lunged, predictable in its curiosity. Kale sidestepped, moving toward the ledge. The creature followed, its instincts guiding it straight into the trap they had set. At the right moment, Kale leaped aside, triggering a concealed mechanism in the ruins. Heavy stones shifted, creating a barrier that slowed the predator. Lyra struck swiftly, striking the creature's sides and pushing it further along the ledge. Together, they forced it to the edge, where its momentum carried it toward a deep chasm. The predator roared, a sound filled with frustration and surprise, as it fell into the abyss below. Kale and Lyra watched, breathing heavily, adrenaline still coursing through their veins. They had survived, but both knew the challenge had tested them in ways nothing else had. Lyra turned to Kale, her eyes filled with something rare, respect and awe. "You are extraordinary, even among humans, your instinct, your creativity, your patience. It is something few can match." Kale chuckled softly, wiping sweat from his brow. "I just survive," he said. "That's all?" "No," Lyra said firmly. "You do more than survive, you master, you adapt, you think in ways that most species cannot. You're unique." Kale felt a strange pride, not arrogance, but recognition. He had always relied on his abilities, but to have someone like Lyra acknowledge them felt profound. He realized that in the galaxy, humans were underestimated, yet their potential was immense. The ruins were quiet now, the jungle reclaiming its shadows. Kale and Lyra moved through the area cautiously, noting the faint traces of the predator's intelligence. They were not merely hunting creatures. They were navigating challenges designed by evolution itself, testing the limits of skill, instinct, and cooperation. As they rested near a faintly glowing stream, Lyra finally spoke again. "Your species, humans, I have underestimated you. I see now that your instincts, your adaptability, your persistence, these are rare qualities. Qualities my people admire but rarely possess." Kale looked at her, surprised by her honesty. "I never thought about it like that," he said. "I just do what I must, that's all any of us can do." Lyra smiled faintly. "No, it is more than that, you inspire. You prove that even a human, so small by the standards of the galaxy, can challenge the greatest threats and survive. That is remarkable." Kale felt a warmth at her words, a connection that went beyond species or rivalry. They were hunters, yes, but also explorers, challengers, and survivors. Together, they had faced a creature that seemed unbeatable, and in the process, recognized the potential of one another. Suddenly, a rustle echoed from deeper within the ruins. Both Kale and Lyra tensed, weapons ready. It was a smaller creature this time, but fast and cunning, testing their reactions. Kale smiled faintly. "Seems like the jungle isn't done with us yet." Lyra's eyes gleamed with anticipation. "Good, I hope it is." The challenge, it is invigorating. For hours, they moved through the ruins, encountering smaller predators and traps set by the environment itself. Kale's intuition guided them through dangers, while Lyra's experience provided strength and precision. They worked in harmony, the combination of human ingenuity and alien skill proving unstoppable. As dawn broke over Scifi Prime, the jungle shifted from shadow to soft light. The ruins looked less threatening in the daylight, yet the sense of accomplishment and awe remained. Kale and Lyra stood at the edge of the main chasm, looking down where the massive predator had fallen. "You've changed my perspective," Lyra said softly. "Humans, you are more than survivalists. You are masters of your environment. Your instincts, your intelligence, your courage, they are unparalleled." Kale nodded. "Maybe we've just learned to adapt," he said. "To make the most of what we have, that's what survival means for humans." Lyra smiled, a rare, genuine smile. "Perhaps. But you have something more, something I have never seen before, a spark that could shape the galaxy." Kale felt the weight of her words, understanding fully the admiration behind them. He realized that this was more than recognition of skill. It was respect for the human potential that few species ever acknowledged. As they prepared to leave the ruins, Lyra glanced at Kale with a playful yet serious expression. "A tracker like you must pass on his genes. The galaxy could use more like you." Kale's lips curved into a small, knowing smile. He didn't need to respond. The meaning was clear. Humans had the potential to thrive, to dominate, to innovate in ways that even the most skilled alien hunters could admire. The jungle was quiet now, the adventure behind them. Yet both Kale and Lyra knew that this was only one of many challenges awaiting humanity and their allies. Together they had faced the impossible, and together they had survived, proving that instinct, intelligence, and courage were qualities that could not be underestimated. Kale Draven walked forward, ready for whatever came next. Lyra Thalix followed, intrigued, impressed, and inspired by the human beside her. The galaxy had just begun to realize the power of humanity. And the hunt was far from over. The jungle of Scifi Prime had quieted after the predator's fall, but Kale Draven sensed that calm was temporary. The air was heavier now, charged with an unspoken tension. He crouched low, listening to subtle vibrations in the soil, the distant echo of moving limbs, and the soft hum of alien insects. Every sound carried meaning if one paid attention. Lyra Thalix mirrored his movements, her sharp eyes scanning the canopy. Though impressive in her own right, even she showed caution now. Kale had demonstrated human ingenuity beyond her expectations, yet this jungle seemed determined to test them further. "There's something else here," Kale whispered, his voice barely audible. "Something watching us," Lyra's eyes narrowed. "I feel it too, it's different, smarter, faster, and it doesn't want to be found easily." Kale nodded, crouching to examine fresh tracks. They were smaller than the previous predator, but the pattern was intricate, almost like the creature was masking its presence deliberately. He smiled faintly. "Clever, that means it's dangerous, and that makes it interesting." The ruins loomed ahead, half-covered in vines. The earlier battle had left them mostly intact, but the jungle seemed to have shifted overnight. Paths that had been clear were now blocked by fallen trees, and the ruins' glow had grown stronger, as if the planet itself were alive and aware. Kale and Lyra moved cautiously, understanding instinctively that the environment was part of the challenge. Suddenly, a flash of movement caught Kale's eye. He ducked instinctively as a creature lunged from the shadows. It was smaller than the previous predator, but incredibly fast, striking with precision. Kale rolled aside, firing a quick pulse shot that grazed its side. The creature hissed, agile and intelligent, retreating into the shadows. Lyra moved silently beside him, her gaze fixed on the darkness. "It's testing us," she said. "It wants to see what we're capable of before it engages fully." Kale considered this, nodding slowly. "Then we'll give it a show it won't forget." He adjusted his stance, readying himself for the hunt. The creature reappeared, moving in erratic patterns designed to confuse and intimidate. Kale studied its behavior carefully, noting subtle hints in its movement. He could see where it would strike next, anticipating its attack with the patience that made humans formidable hunters. Lyra struck first, moving with precision and strength. Kale followed with quick, calculated shots, guiding the creature toward a narrow pathway between jagged rocks. Its momentum carried it exactly where he wanted. The predator leapt, claws extended, but Kale sidestepped, using the environment against it. Rocks tumbled, creating a barrier that slowed the creature. "Good work," Lyra said, her voice carrying admiration. "You're quick, adaptable, and smart. Your species, it's underestimated for a reason." Kale smiled faintly. "We adapt. We survive. That's what humans do." Hours passed as they tracked the creature through the ruins. It was clever, using the environment to its advantage, disappearing into shadows and reappearing with calculated precision. Kale's instincts guided them, reading subtle changes in the soil, the broken branches, and the faint glowing tracks the predator left behind. At one point, they reached a section of the ruins with a massive central chamber. The walls were etched with symbols that pulsed faintly. Kale studied them briefly, sensing energy patterns that suggested the predator had chosen this place deliberately. "It wants this fight," he said quietly. "It's intelligent enough to set the stage." Lyra's eyes gleamed. "Then we'll show it what humans can do when they work with skill and instinct." The predator emerged, larger than it had appeared before. Its scales glimmered in the faint light, and its eyes glowed with intelligence. It moved with confidence, circling them, testing reactions, measuring responses. Kale and Lyra worked seamlessly, combining strategy and instinct. Kale drew the creature toward a narrow ledge while Lyra struck from above, her movements precise and deadly. Kale noticed a pattern in its attacks, a rhythm he could exploit. "It's predicting strength, not strategy," he whispered. "It underestimates cleverness." He set a simple yet ingenious trap using the ruins' architecture. As the creature lunged, Kale dodged and triggered the mechanism. Stones shifted, creating a cage-like structure that limited its movement. The predator roared in frustration, its intelligence evident in its rapid attempts to escape. Lyra moved in, striking with precision, using the creature's momentum against it. Kale followed, creating distractions and openings. The fight was intense, a combination of strategy, instinct, and raw skill. Each movement Kale made was calculated, reflecting human adaptability at its peak. Finally, the predator stumbled, exhausted and cornered. It hissed, eyes locking on Kale and Lyra. They did not attack immediately, respecting the intelligence of their opponent. Instead, they allowed it a final moment, acknowledging its skill. Kale spoke softly, more to himself than anyone else. "This is what it means to survive, to adapt, to master the challenge." Lyra's expression softened, admiration shining through. "You've proven it, human. Your instincts, your courage, your intelligence, you are extraordinary. Even among humans, you are remarkable." Kale smiled faintly. "We're all remarkable in our own way. We just have to prove it." The predator, sensing defeat, retreated into the shadows, disappearing into the jungle. Kale and Lyra did not pursue immediately. They knew that forcing the hunt would diminish the respect between hunter and prey. Instead, they allowed the jungle to reclaim its quiet. As they walked back toward the edge of the ruins, Lyra spoke with a rare warmth. "Humans, your species has potential few others can match. You survive, yes, but more than that, you innovate, adapt, and endure. That is extraordinary." Kale glanced at her. "I've never thought of it that way. I just do what I must." "No," Lyra said firmly. "It is more than that. You shape your environment, overcome challenges, and prove that intelligence and courage can surpass brute strength. You are impressive." They moved in silence for a while, each lost in thought. The jungle had tested them, challenged them, and ultimately allowed them to survive. Kale realized that humans were not just capable of surviving the galaxy, they could thrive, innovate, and surpass expectations. As night fell, the bioluminescent plants lit their path once more. Kale set up a temporary camp, using clever traps and strategic placements to protect against smaller predators. Lyra assisted silently, placing her own traps with skill and precision. Together, they worked in harmony, a combination of human ingenuity and alien experience. Later, as they rested near a faint stream, Lyra spoke again. "A tracker like you must pass on his genes. Your abilities, your instincts, your courage, the galaxy could use more humans like you." Kale's lips curved into a small, knowing smile. I understand what you mean. Humans are underestimated, but we adapt, survive, and thrive. That's all it takes. Lyra's smile was faint but sincere. It is more than that. It is mastery, intelligence, and instinct combined. You embody it, Kale Draven, and I respect that more than I can say. For a long moment they sat in silence, listening to the gentle hum of the jungle. The hunt was over for now, but the experience had changed both of them. Kale understood more about his own abilities, about what humans could achieve. Lyra understood more about the species she had underestimated, seeing their potential in a way few could. As dawn broke over Scifi Prime, painting the jungle in soft gold and green, Kale and Lyra prepared to leave the ruins behind. They had survived, conquered, and grown stronger. The jungle whispered around them, alive with unseen eyes, yet they moved forward with confidence. Kale Draven walked with the calm certainty of one who had faced impossible challenges and survived. Lyra Thalix followed, intrigued, impressed, and inspired by the human beside her. The galaxy had begun to realize the strength and potential of humanity. And though the jungle seemed quiet, Kale knew that somewhere in its shadows, new challenges awaited. Challenges that would test humans further, but also opportunities that would allow them to prove once again that survival, intelligence, and courage could shape the fate of worlds. Kale smiled faintly. "Let them come," he whispered. Lyra's eyes glimmered in the soft light. "Yes, let them come. Together we will face whatever comes next." And so, the hunter and the huntress walked forward, leaving the ruins behind but carrying the lessons, respect, and trust they had forged in the jungle of Scifi Prime. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and full of life, but humans were ready. Kale Draven had proven that instinct, courage, and intelligence could overcome even the deadliest challenges. Lyra Thalix had seen the potential that others often overlooked. And together they would continue to face the unknown, with skill, strategy, and the indomitable spirit of humanity lighting their path. The hunt had ended, but the adventure was only beginning.